So I'm excited because we're doing our special series for International Women's Day. So all week we'll be sharing content and interviews with female founders, and we've called this series "How I Do It," which is slightly irreverent because obviously we're not going to provide you with clear-cut answers, but it's more about offering an insight into how female founders navigate childcare, being a parent, the business, and all of that wonderful stuff, which is sort of miscellaneous stuff, I think. So I'm
Yeah.
really excited today because I've got Sara Tateno, who is the founder of the Happity business, and she's going to be talking to us about some of these issues of kind of navigating parenting and childcare and the whole caboodle. So one of my first questions to you is really around the whole area of what is the best thing about being a founder? What do
Mhm.
you really enjoy about it?
Well, there's lots of things to enjoy about being a founder, but it is hard. But for me, it's the learning journey that I've been on. That there's many different facets of, of, of running a business, and particularly in the early stages of business, you get to get your hands dirty and try lots of different things. But you're constantly on a learning journey. So I love that personally. And the second thing is that I'm very excited about my opportunity to change the world of work and create new opportunities for other people. And as a female founder, using my own prior experience and knowledge to design work that I think is more fit for 21st century families.
That's great. And I mean, what would you say then is perhaps one of the challenges around that area of kind of being a founder and also being a parent at the same
Mm-hmm.
time?
Yeah, I know it's one of these things that it's asked a lot of female founders, more so than it is of male founders, unsurprisingly. And it is a challenge for us because quite often women are doing more of the child caring responsibilities. So inevitably, there's a lot of juggling that goes on, a lot of flexible working. And by flexible, it's like work all hours around the time that you're not looking after your children. um, but you know, it's it is doable, but you need help. You know, you can't do it all, and that's how I do it, is by not doing everything.
Mm. I think people who are watching will be thinking about that will resonate very strongly, but it's kind of like almost learning the art of delegation when you can. Is that right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's what can you outsource? You know, and that's where something like Bubble is obviously very useful. It's something that I've used in the past myself, particularly, you know, when you're working from home, that it's really helpful to have that extra pair of hands around, that, you know, you are on hand if something really needs you, but you've got that peace of mind of having somebody else, like, looking after your kids at the same time. Um, Sorry, what was the question?
I know, that's great. I guess that my next question would be around the sort of what would be the one thing that you would change, I suppose, that would maybe support female founders? And I think your last answer almost had it in there, you know,
Yeah,
in terms of
having
childcare.
more childcare. I mean, as a general point for female founders, I think the funding question is the biggest challenge and problem facing women, because, well, particularly working in the tech sector, we might not have as good access to the technical skills or people who can help us with the technical skills, and so we're less likely to have a technical co-founder, which means you need more money to get your idea off the ground in the first place. And it's a real sort of cyclical problem that the people who are investing, you know, the bulk of them are actually men rather than women. And so the problems that female founders are really motivated to solve struggle that much more to find people who both believe in the idea and have the money to fund it. So, I mean, the most critical thing is really that female founders need more money.
That's so interesting. And also, when I think back to your point about, unfortunately, it's often it's changing, but it's often women who are maybe doing the bulk of the childcare. And
Mm.
so then if you think of in terms of kind of investors, maybe some, not all men, but maybe some men are not fully aware of what a challenge that is, in terms of, how, if they're not used to sort of sourcing childcare or navigating that world,
Mm.
they might, for example, think, well, why is that, why is that an issue? And equally, why are some of these kind of businesses that are set up around helping parents and helping navigate the whole sort of branding world of parents,
Mm.
are those important too? So it's an interesting one. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess the other thing that I think is interesting is that, like, actually you'll find that female founders are incredibly dedicated, that the fact that they're actually pursuing an idea and creating a business and building that despite having all the family challenges shows that extra level of dedication already. So quite often when even if you're pitching to an accelerator or to investors, they're often looking for that spark of, well, what makes you special? What have you done that's above and beyond everybody else to get your idea to fruition, without appreciating the fact that you already have gone above and beyond by virtue of the fact that you've started and pursued this thing, even though you've got perhaps a lot of family childcare responsibilities. You've clearly already shown a lot more dedication than a younger person who doesn't have any of those extra constraints around their time.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's almost like by the time you get in front of them, you've already done this entire journey, to arrive there. Finally, I mean, what piece of advice would you give to somebody who's kind of thinking about launching their own business? I mean, there might not be one, actually, they might be linked together, but if you sort of rewind a bit to when you sort of kicked off, what do you wish you'd kind of known?
What do I wish I could have known? I wish I'd had more self-belief in myself, and it took some time to build up my support network around myself. So I think that is an incredibly important part of starting a business, is that you can't do it all. And you are going to need help in all different parts, whether that's actually with the business or with your home life. If you've got a partner, that they need to be really brought into your journey too. I was very fortunate that my husband had actually taken shared parental leave before I started Happity, and he had to be the sole carer for our two kids under the age of 3. He had to get them out of the house. He was the one that was like at home going, oh my goodness, I'm going mad, I need to get out, I need to find something. And so by the time I wanted to start Happity, he was totally bought in, because he'd experienced the problem for himself and he knew that it was something that really needed to be solved. And so that's been a huge asset in this journey, because there are times when I need to be able to lean on him, and that his work then needs to take a backseat to what I'm doing. So having that kind of belief and support from your partner is incredibly valuable. And then just the wider support network, speak to other women in the same boat. There's lots of networks out there for women in business at all different types of levels, different types of stages. And we've got each other's backs.
It's interesting, because I think that support network comes back to something that someone else was saying, which was around that kind of, we all live in these kind of, we might not necessarily have access to family support, or broader family support. So having, or even actually people watching this and learning, oh, you're struggling with that too, that's nice to know, because I thought I was the only one. Well, listen, I just wanted to say thank you so much, and Sarah, for taking the time today to talk to us. And have you got any exciting plans in the pipeline that we can share with people watching? I know you must be doing all sorts of things.
It's a really exciting time for us. The market is reopening. People are going back to baby classes. Our team is growing. We're actually hiring some new roles, and everything that we offer is flexible. We give people the option to choose whether or not it's a full-time role or a part-time role for the right candidate. And yeah, there's like a lot of new development that's going on the site, and new features